BOBCAT Lightning. Alright, here's our macro task order for our platoon. First platoon, Charlie 1 Bob Infantry, whose task is to disrupt enemy forces in AO run to deny enemy influence on the battalion DO. Each squad has its own task. Ours is to attack to destroy objective Phantom, deny enemy influence, with key weapon system of M249, M320, which is the same for 2nd and 3rd squad, and we were going to have an attached gun team. Here's our micro task order. As I said before, our task is to attack to destroy an objective Phantom, to destroy an enemy mortar team. Alpha team is going to assault on this objective to deny enemy influence. Their key weapon systems are going to be the M249 and M320. Bravo team is going to be security team to deny enemy influence on battalion DO with the same key weapon systems as Alpha team. Our attached gun team is our support by fire. They're going to support 1st squad, both Alpha and Bravo team, with the key weapon systems of a 240 Bravo and Javelin. These 2 weapon systems are crucial to destroying the enemy mortar team. With their support by fire capabilities, we will be able to destroy enemy mortars. Alright, here's our area of interest, an area of operations. Here's AO Ronin. This is where our platoon and our squad will be operating in, alongside AO No Slack to the west and AO Amarak to the east. As you can see, there's extreme elevation to the east, and the river to the west, which will canalize our movements throughout this AO. And then enemy helicopter capabilities, indirect fire capabilities are going to limit our movements as well. So to the west, the enemy has Z-10 attack helicopters, which is equivalent to the US Apache. They're triggered by battalion or higher enablers, which will not affect us. Their time to attack is 30 minutes. However, the battalion of the PL-46 152mm howitzers in AO run into objective Phantom are going to be triggered by infantry squad or greater size element, which will affect us because we have size greater than a squad due to the attached gun team. That reaction time is 10 minutes, so we need to avoid detection in this AO by moving through the wood line, not along high-speed routes. And then there's a one-time PP-87 detected by the counterfire radar on objective Phantom. This is the mortar team that we are attacking to destroy. And then there's a motorized platoon in AO No Slack, which uses key terrain, the bridge, to react to movements in AO Ronin, objective Phantom. The reaction time is 40 minutes. They're just triggered by any US force advancing, so this will be any movements on objective Ghost, Camaro, or in Phantom. So our key terrain, objective Phantom, where the enemy mortar team is, and then the bridge is what is necessary for mission success. This is everything written. So we have our area of interest, the 37 northing, and the 31 northing, and then 17 easting and 10 easting. Alright, for our GTAO, as you can see, extreme elevation and the river canalizes both our and enemy movements. However, the enemy has the advantage because they are going to be using mounted elements on Route Camaro, where they have wired obstacles in order to deny our freedom of maneuver. These are going to hinder both dismounted and mounted movements. There are improved and unimproved trails that we should use for our dismounted movements. However, we must be prepared for slow and extremely rigorous movement due to extreme elevation throughout AO Ronin. The mountain range and then the woods are going to limit our field of fire. Then obstacles with long Route Camaro with canalization make it an extremely dangerous route for us to use. The enemy has this advantage in the AO. We need to use planning and extreme caution while moving along these high-speed routes and throughout the AO. Marked advantage, we've got key terrain 1, key terrain 2. The enemy has control over this bridge, which allows them to move through the AO with their reserve and forces, their CSK 141s. And then control over objective Phantom allows them to shoot mortars throughout the AO, denying US forces freedom of maneuver. It is very unlikely that we're going to have support from indirect fire, and then we will not have support from any air support because they have air defense artillery, which limits our freedom of maneuver. However, along objective Phantom, we do have the advantage because we can move through the wood line. Because we're a dismounted movement, we do not use Humvees like the enemy using their CSK 141s. Moving on to weather. So there is illumination dropping daily It doesn't matter during the day, but at night when we will be moving, the enemy is going to be using night vision goggles to see us. However, due to extremely high humidity, the night vision goggles will not be as effective. Extreme heat and humidity reduces energy effectiveness because of the lower contrast between people moving and the wood line. And then extreme cloud cover also helps us move with more concealment from detection. And then the precipitation is likely, so as we go through, rain will help us with detection because it'll make the ground softer. They won't be able to hear us as well as we move through. Low wind also doesn't help us with avoiding detection. However, with the rain, we should be able to move through the woods quieter. However, we're going to need to be able to have noise discipline as we move, and very much light discipline because the enemy will be using NVGs to see us. And then civil considerations. In areas there's a lot of urban environments, there's going to be civilians in this area. We need to avoid them because it's likely if we run into civilians, the enemy will be alerted to our presence. So there's an unknown number of civilians. We just need to avoid them, minimize contact, minimize casualties as we move through this operation. Here's our enemy situation for our company. So here and here we have indirect fire capabilities which limit our air support and then movement through this AO. We need to avoid this enemy recon squad because they're reporting to this platoon and this mortar team any U.S. operations, so it's likely if we run into this squad, the enemy will be alerted to our movement towards their mortar team. They all have, each squad, each platoon has the CSK-141s, which is comparable to the friendly M1167 Humvee with a 50 cal mounted on top. Their most dangerous weapon system is the PL-66 152mm howitzer, which is similar to U.S. M114 155mm howitzers. Their use of this anywhere within this AO is likely to disrupt us from completing our mission. From our platoon analysis, the enemy is at 90% strength. Right here, this squad is going to be controlling this village. They're in range with 10 minutes to get to their mortar team. They have a CSK-141, which allows them to move quickly towards this team. As I said before, this recon squad is moving throughout the AO to look for U.S. forces and to alert this squad team of any movements towards their position. The most common weapon system is the QBZ-95, comparable to the U.S. M4. They are tasked with defending Objective Phantom and providing IDF to this entire AO. They have 4 people at the position and then 9 people in this squad. They're going to be trying to disrupt U.S. forces in this squad along Route Camaro, and this squad is tasked with controlling this key intersection. This is our macro sit temp. As you can see, the enemy has a platoon here that will support their squads and their mortar team here. This is that 40-minute reaction time I was talking about. We need to avoid detection by this squad in order to limit them from supporting their mortar platoon and their mortar team. This is our macro sit temp. So this is the enemy mortar team with 4 packs. It's most likely that they will have their light machine gun pointed out towards our most likely avenue of approach, and then they have their grenade launchers also pointed out to shoot into this difficult to see terrain. Their mortar team, this is the most key point of their operation and our most key to destroy. This is their PP-87 82mm mortar, which is trying to disrupt U.S. freedom of maneuver with a max effective range of 6,000 meters. They just want to enable freedom of maneuver for their own people. This squad, which is tasked with protecting this village, is most likely to react if they find out about our movements in this area. So as we move to attack, we need to move through the wood line so as not to start their machine gun from firing on us. So as you can see from this imagery, it's going to be very difficult for them to see us. We have that advantage moving in. However, if the enemy is alerted to our movements by the recon squad, it is likely that their CSKs in this enemy squad will move towards our objective and be shooting at us, which is like very dangerous for us because we only have a squad plus, where they will have 4 packs in this mortar team, and then an additional squad moving on to this element. So we need to move our support by fire element in to have the javelin and the 240 attacking their mortars, destroying their mortars and machine guns first, and then we'll have the rest of our squad move through to destroy the enemy. And then at this point, it is most likely that the enemy will be alerted to our movement and have started moving towards this position to protect their mortar team. We will need to break contact and move back to our patrol base as fast as possible. Enemy capabilities. So the enemy is dispersed. They had their failed air assault mission, which scattered them throughout the AO. It created uncertainty. They might not be aware of U.S. forces moving in the area because of this. However, they're able to move down roads and between squads very easily because of their CSK-141s. They can disrupt friendly movement in AO with their indirect fire capabilities, and they have control and dug-in defense in this AO, and they have just been recently resupplied, so they are able to continue fighting without another resupply soon. The enemy needs to defend Objective Phantom. This squad will be reconning to support and alert their mortar team, and they're going to try to keep this key terrain no matter what. This is their most important piece of terrain. Alright. Finally, our friendly mission will be moving from our patrol base to destroy Objective Phantom, breaking contact once we've destroyed the enemy, move back to our patrol base to try and meet back with our company and platoons, because 2nd and 3rd platoon have lost contact with the company commander. We need to deny the uncontested use along Route Camaro from the enemy. We need to disrupt enemy operations in depth. And then we need to conduct our disjointed squad operations within AO Ronin. I'll say again, our mission statement is to disrupt enemy forces in AO Ronin no later than 2200 August 2024 in order to deny enemy influence on the battalion main element.